Once upon a time, deep in a sprawling forest, lived a clever old wolf. He wasn't the strongest or the fastest anymore, but his mind was as sharp as a freshly forged hunter's knife. For years, he had outsmarted every trap and every hunter that dared to venture into his territory. But a new hunter had arrived, and this one was different. He was patient, observant, and relentless. The wolf knew this was a formidable opponent. One morning, the wolf discovered the hunter's tracks near his favorite stream. They were fresh. The hunter was getting closer. The wolf's heart thumped against his ribs, not with fear, but with a surge of adrenaline. The game was on. He knew his usual tricks, circling back, walking on rocks, crossing streams, wouldn't be enough this time. He needed a new strategy, something the hunter would never expect. He spent the day observing, not the hunter, but the other animals of the forest. He watched a heavy bear amble by, leaving deep, round prints. He saw a nimble deer dart through the undergrowth, its cloven hooves barely marking the soft earth. He even watched a family of raccoons, their tiny, hand-like prints, a chaotic map of their nightly mischief. An idea, brilliant and audacious, began to form in the old wolf's mind. That evening, as twilight painted the sky in shades of purple and orange, the wolf set his plan into motion. He found a fallen branch, thick and sturdy. Using his powerful jaws, he began to chew and carve one end of it. It was slow, difficult work. Splinters pricked his gums, and his jaw ached, but he was driven by a will to survive. Hour after hour, he worked under the moonlight, patiently shaping the wood. By dawn, he had done it. He had crafted a crude but effective tool, a wooden stamp. It was shaped like the paw print of a bear, but larger, more monstrous than any real bear he had ever seen. He then made another, this one mimicking the track of a deer, but again, strangely oversized and slightly misshapen. He was creating a phantom, a creature that did not exist. His plan was simple, but required precision. He would use his own tracks to lure the hunter into a specific area, a small clearing surrounded by dense thickets. Then, he would use his carved stamps to create a scene of chaos. He started by making a trail with his own paws, leading straight into the clearing. He made them look hurried, as if he were fleeing from something. Once in the clearing, he began his masterpiece of deception. He stomped the giant bear print stamp into the ground, pressing with all his weight. He made it look as though a colossal bear had charged into the clearing. Then he used the giant deer print stamp, scattering tracks everywhere, as if a whole herd of unnaturally large deer had panicked and fled in all directions. Finally, he created the climax of his story. He used the bear stamp to obliterate his own tracks leading into the clearing. It would look as if the giant bear had ambushed him, the wolf, and a terrible struggle had ensued. To add to the effect, he thrashed around, scattering leaves and breaking small branches. He even used a sharp stone to nick his own leg, leaving a few drops of blood on the disturbed earth, a touch of grim reality for his discerning audience of one. With his stage set, the wolf executed the final, crucial part of his plan. He carefully backed away from the clearing, stepping only on stones and exposed roots, leaving no trace of his escape. He then found a high ridge overlooking the entire scene, concealed himself within a thicket of ferns, and waited. The sun was high in the sky when the hunter finally arrived. The wolf watched as the man knelt, examining the wolf tracks leading into the clearing. The hunter was cautious, his hand resting on the rifle slung over his shoulder. He followed the tracks, his eyes scanning every shadow. When the hunter stepped into the clearing, he froze. The wolf saw the man's posture change instantly. Confusion, then disbelief, and finally, a flicker of something the wolf had never seen in a hunter before. Fear. The scene before him was impossible. The tracks told a story of a creature of immense size and ferocity, something far beyond the realm of a normal bear. The sheer size of the prints, The violence of the struggle, implied by the torn-up ground, it defied logic. The hunter walked the clearing in a slow circle. He touched the edge of one of the giant bear prints with the toe of his boot. He looked at the oversized deer tracks scattering away. He saw the wolf's trail abruptly end, consumed by the chaos. He saw the drops of blood. He was a man of the woods, a man who understood its rules and its inhabitants. But this was something else. This was a monster. He looked up at the silent trees, his confidence visibly shaken. He was no longer hunting a wolf. He was trespassing in the territory of a beast he couldn't comprehend. The forest, once a familiar map of signs and trails, had suddenly become a place of terrifying mystery. The wolf watched as the hunter slowly, carefully backed out of the clearing. He didn't turn his back until he was well clear, his eyes constantly darting into the shadows. He didn't continue his hunt. Instead, he turned and walked back the way he came, his pace quickening with every step. He never returned. From his hiding spot on the ridge, the old wolf watched the hunter disappear. A quiet satisfaction settled over him. He hadn't won through strength or speed, but through intelligence and creativity. He had defeated his enemy not with tooth and claw, but with a story told in the dirt. He had turned the hunter's greatest skill, his ability to read the tracks against him, using it to write a fiction, so convincing it became real in the hunter's mind. As the sun began to set, the old wolf limped down from the ridge, his work complete. The forest was his again, not just a territory to defend, but a canvas on which he could paint his own reality. And he knew that as long as he had his wits, he would always be the true master of his domain. The legend of the phantom beast of the clearing would spread among the humans, a whispered tale of caution, ensuring that the clever old wolf could live out the rest of his days in peace.